Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm so happy that you're here. This podcast is a place for conversations about balancing a healthy lifestyle and being happy, more specifically, happy hour. Together, we'll explore all things wellness and wine. I hope you learn a little, laugh a lot, and along the way, know you're not alone on this balanced wellness journey. Ready to jump in? Pour something in your glass that makes you happy because it's time for Spandex and Wine. Well, hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I appreciate you being here. Today's episode is a conversation with Tommy Marino. I saw a Facebook post of his a while back about some changes that he had made in his life, and I knew that I had to have him on the podcast. He's very passionate about everything that he does. And like I said, he's made several major shifts to find a balance in his life. And I wanted that message to come to you. Listen as he shares about his professional life, his wellness journey, and his love of wine. Well, welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. Today, I'm so excited to have Tommy Marino, like Dan Marino, with me, not related. Tommy, you and I have a connection through wine. We were wine consultants with the same company, but Facebook friends also. And that's what drew me to reach out to you. You had a particular post that you talked about making life changes. You had a big move that you went through, a drastic change in your diet and your lifestyle. So if you wouldn't mind, would you just start with your story and tell us everything you want to tell us?
Absolutely, Robin. I would love to. First of all, I'm so honored to be a part of this. I think that you are dynamic and special, and I just kind of saw that all over your Facebook stuff. And when we were, consultants together in the wine business, you were always dynamic, and you were always like doing the stuff that my team was telling me to do, and you were already doing it. So I was like automatically hit that follow button. This is the wine guide I need to talk to. So you were always on my radar. But I recently took a very significant break from Facebook. I was a ghost. Tommy, you did not know who Tommy was on Facebook. I kind of looked at what people were doing, but I rarely went on. I needed a break because Facebook can be a slippery slope. And it'll take you places you don't want to go and it has everything not to do with the community itself. Facebook is fine. It's just my mindset going into Facebook at that time in my life. It was about me, less about the community and more about me. But I needed a break from it. So I just disappeared. But now recently I've come back, and that was the post you saw. And I just kind of laid it out all right in the beginning. And, my close-knit people knew that I had made a career change. But my Facebook community possibly didn't. And that was a big thing. I mean, to do what I did, go back to culinary school, to Johnson & Wales University, and pursue my culinary degree at, when I landed there, I think it was 51. And it was hard. I'll tell you, I still went to class with 18 and 19-year-olds. Yeah, I did. And that was a challenge. That was a challenge in itself. So, but my job has taken me to a place that I'm, very comfortable at. I can do my craft. I'm doing well. I'm in line for promotion. Woohoo! So hopefully that's going to come through. And you know what? I just have a different aspect on it now. I just have a different look at it. And probably what your listeners don't know is that I used to be the butcher before I was the chef. Okay, and this is where the story takes an interesting turn. Because I have been the butcher life for 35, 36 years in my career in the supermarkets the whole time. And if anybody's worked in the supermarkets, they'll tell you, my gosh, this guy deserves a medal or something, anything, but something just to last that long in it. But it really did. I always say it this way. It devolved past me. I overstayed my welcome because most of the major supermarkets today have pre-cut meat. They don't need butchers in the stores anymore. Most of the supermarkets you go to, the meat is cut off-site, and they were looking to dump payroll. So I said, this is an opportunity. God's trying to put something on my heart here. So when we moved from New York to Charlotte, I tore Johnson and Wales in 2019 and I couldn't make it work. I just financially, I couldn't make it work. So then COVID happened. And I said,
Hmm.
oh, God's in my corner, right? He said, no, Tommy, not now, not now. But for the grace of God, he was able to show it to me again in 2021. And then I was able to do it. And then all of a sudden my life just went, it just went in places I never thought it was going to go. I had to be in labs for 6 hours at a time. I had to study. I was the butcher 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an incredible adjustment, but I dove right into it and I took to it like a duck to water. I aced my classes. I'm not gonna lie. I did well.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't much matter to my employers, but it matters to me.
Yeah, that's another connection that we have because I was in the corporate world for almost a decade and I was so unhappy. I was working for a real estate consulting firm and I was doing audits. I was the person that like AT&T was our client. The landlord would have me come stick me in a closet with all of the bills and I didn't see any people and I had to audit everything and I hated it, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was working out with some friends and we had 2 deaths in the family that year. And I'm like, you know what? I just need to be happy. I just need to do something totally different that I am going to give back to other people. And I thought, why not get paid for what I'm doing already? So I did the same thing. I was in my early 30s at that point. But my boys were at an age where they could see, okay, it is important for you to do something that, isn't giving back and something that you love, a passion. So I can totally understand that scary step, but then just going for it.
Just really just throwing caution because I had no idea if I was going to be successful. And I had gone to college after high school. You see, this whole story starts back when I was in high school because I wanted to be a chef back then. My dad was going to pay for CIA. I lived 20 minutes south of the Culinary Institute of America in New York. It was in my hometown, but my dad was older and he was getting ready to retire. And that would have been a big nut for him. He was willing to do it, but he would have had to work a lot more years in his career. And I was at that point in my life where I was already the butcher. I started my craft when I was 17. So
Yeah.
I kind of was good at it right away. So I had the new car before my friends did. I mean,
Mhm.
I always made good rate. I wasn't making $3 an hour like most of my friends were. So like and I told my dad, look, forget about culinary school. I said, I'm gonna go to Dutchess Community College, which was our community college. And what my dad offered me was that he was going to, he said, major in computer science. My dad worked for IBM. And before he retired, he was going to pull some strings and he was going to get me in the company. And that was going to be like his thing he was going to do for me. And I got on that campus and I didn't want to be there, not even for a second. I majored in the parking lot. That's what I majored in. Seriously, I majored in the parking lot. I went. I did not want to be there, not even for a second. I went with a really good friend from high school. He went to the same school and he didn't want to be there. So I had a buddy who didn't want to be there, which is great if you want to fail in college. But I did. And that's okay. Hey, listen, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, listen, I learned a big lesson, but I'd already had a career. By that time, I was working full time in the supermarket. So I went back to my dad and I said, look, I said, I'm done with this college thing. He said, well, you better go get a job. I said, I got one. He's like, it's good. It's a good job for you. I said, yeah, pops. Yes, I can make a career out of this. He said, and then he put his retirement papers in. And I felt so
Okay.
good about that. It made my heart sing. It was like, I felt so good. It felt like it was the right decision
Yeah.
at that time. Now, was
Mhm.
being butchered, keep a roof over my head? Absolutely. Did it have me provide for my family? Absolutely. It was a good job. I just outstayed my welcome.
I
The,
feel like, go ahead.
the industry changed. I didn't. I never changed for a second how I did this job. You see, I was the guy who ran the full service case. I wasn't the guy who was in the back that cut 1,000 racks and volume, volume, volume. I could cut like that, but it wasn't my specialty. My specialty was working with the customers. I was that butcher from New York. Everyone from New York knows this butcher. Everybody, hey, how you doing? Italian guy. Oh, what's up? What do you need? Oh, salami, roast beef. I got you. And everyone knows that. That was Tommy. And
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the lifestyle. I gravitated to these guys. They were hard. Oh, they were hard people to work for. I went through a hazing process that is another podcast all in itself. Seriously, it was rough, but I lasted. I stuck it out, and I became a master of my craft. I can take down whatever you need me. That's fine. If you need me to cut meat for you, I'm your guy, and it's never going to leave me because it's my trade, it's my craft. But I decided to go back to school to have another craft, and that's being
Right.
a chef. And I used my butchering skills on my. It was. I always tell people, they say to me, Tommy, boy, that's an incredible accomplishment. You went back to school when you were 51. I said, but listen to me, brother. Listen carefully. I wasn't an accountant before this. I was in the food industry. I was already, and it was incredible when I went to JWU. All the chefs were my age or older. So I had a really interesting connection. I love my chefs that taught me this. I will be forever grateful to Johnson & Wales University. And once I make it big, I'm going to give back to the university because they brought a Tommy who was broken, just in a job that was just terrible. It wasn't going anywhere, and recreated me and taught me the vernacular, taught me how to be a professional in the kitchen. And gave me the basic skill set that I use on my job every single day. I always tell people, yes, Johnson & Wales is expensive. You're gonna pay. It's not cheap, but they really do train you to get your foot in the door. And now you have the tools to go ahead and be the best chef you can be. Johnson & Wales, once they get you there, once they get you your job, it's on you, and it should be. We're all professionals. You're a professional. I'm a professional. When I punch that clock, and I hate punching that clock, I can't stand it. But I've punched a clock my whole life. I'm working on some things that are going to stop me from punching that clock.
Nice.
People like you in my life, and other people in my life, have sparked this entrepreneurial spirit inside of me that was always there. But we just needed people who made the path before us.
Right.
Took the risk, decided to do a podcast, and just took the risk. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've wanted my whole life. I'm tired of punching a clock. But anyway, so I go to my job, I do my job well, and then I come home and I leave myself open for all kinds of opportunities. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
I need to look at it. I need to look at it. What are you doing? What are you doing? You look happy, unbelievably happy. And I want that. So I'm going to take a look at what you're doing.
Right. Right.
Everything is on the table. Everything.
Yeah, that's great. And I think you're right. Surrounding yourself with those people that inspire you, that push you to be a better person, and to be a little uncomfortable.
Why not? I mean, anything that's easy isn't worth doing. I mean, if it's hard, that's the joy. I've learned that over the years in my career. If it feels hard, that's what it's supposed to feel like. When you're growing, it's hard. You're going to go through times of stress and hardship. But that's the whole idea. Successful people don't get successful by sitting on their behind all day. They go out and find the opportunity, and they do it. They just go ahead and do it. And they have no fear. You see, I've had a recent spiritual awakening. Really, everybody uses that term, spiritual awakening. Geez, Tommy, what are you talking about? But you will understand with me that my faith runs my life. Christ is in the center of my life, and he never leaves. He's right here in the center. I'm a faithful follower of my Lord. That's it. Period. End of story. I may be called chef, butcher, Tommy, wine guide, whatever names I'm going to be called. I identify myself as a follower. And everything goes through him. Everything, no matter what we do. I ran this podcast through him. He put this podcast on my heart, and I couldn't be more excited to do it. So I knew it was right. If I'm excited, it's right. And because God put it there. This whole journey of life is the coolest thing ever. It's painful. Oh, gosh, is it painful? But that's okay. It's supposed to be.
Right. And I feel I'm with you. If you're open for the opportunities, they're there. You just have to be able to be open enough to see them.
because I'm not the center of my life. And now I'm starting to surround myself with people who themselves are not the center of their lives. And those are the people that actually get it. They really do understand. And you can tell the people that don't have that right away, because you look at their posts on Facebook and it's like, man, that's all about you. Man, that's all about you. And I took a look at that stuff, and this is why I took my hiatus from Facebook. Because I was just, all I saw was that. And there was more there than that, but 99% of the stuff I saw was just so self-centered and just so faithless. And it just didn't hit me right anymore. And I just walked away.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing I ever did. I highly recommend it. If you really feel like you're just crazy with what's going on the Facebook community, just walk away for a while. You don't have to walk away for 2 years like I did. You don't have to do that, but just take a break for a little while and get yourself centered again, and then go back into the community and make a post like I did.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And going back to that post, you had said something which I was surprised by, you being a butcher for so many years. And then that post said that you're now a vegan.
It is true. This is something that people in my life are having a very difficult time wrapping their head around. It's okay. Everyone's been very supportive. Everyone's been down with it, but I've gotten a lot of this. Tommy, this is off the rails. Like, what? Like, you've been what? Like, you've been eating like sausage and ribs and hot dogs your whole life. Like, we know you as the guy who runs the grill and eats the burgers. And what is this? You're like completely. And I said, yeah, I am. I said, I am. And if anybody wants to ask me why, and this is cool, because everybody thinks my why, and you don't. You have no idea what my why is. You have a thought, because when people decide to go vegan, there's a mystique. There's an idea that you have in your head already about why Tommy the butcher would decide to go vegan. So maybe some popular opinion would be, he felt bad all these years. He's been murdering animals his whole life. And God has put it on his heart to save all the animals. Nothing could be farther from the truth, Robin. That's not a part of my why. I'm definitely still one of those welcome to the top of the food chain type of people. It's like, you're at the top of the food chain if that's how you want to. But here's what was happening with me. I was getting signs. My body was sending me signs that your body should not send you. Okay. And I worked with an amazing chef at Johnson & Wales. His name was Chef Calenda, and he was Italian, of course. And I just gravitate to the Italian people. So, but the man had 3 heart attacks, survived 3 massive heart attacks, enough to kill most. And God left him in this world for him to have this one conversation with me when he shared it with me. Because he didn't have to share that information with me, but he shared it with me in the hallway at Johnson & Wales in the culinary lab. And he told me what happened to him. And he told me in the 3rd heart attack, the doctor said, no more animal products, nothing, no, obviously no meat of any kind, no fish, no dairy, no eggs. And that man changed his diet. He looks healthy now. His skin looks healthy. He says, Tommy, it saved my life. He said, it saved my life. No medication, no heart transplants, nothing. He exercises. He exercises daily. He's an older guy, so he exercises as much as he can. But he has changed his diet. When he was never my actual chef instructor for one of my labs, but one of my instructors got COVID, and he subbed in for him while the one chef was out with COVID. And so I had about 6 weeks with him out of a 15-week lab. And Chef Calenda was just an amazing inspiration for me. And then he told me about this thing, and he was my contemporary thing, which is where you do, like, you make all the roast beefs and you make you make a beef centered, menu for your grade. And he says, Tommy, listen, he says, don't take this the wrong way. He says, listen, I'm going to look at I'm going to grade you on the appearance. He said, I'm not going to put it in my mouth. I'm not going to taste it. He says, I trust that you seasoned it correctly. I can tell by looking at it if you seasoned it correctly or not. I'm going to look for color. I'm going to look for texture. I'm going to look for viscosity, but I'm not putting it in my mouth. And I was like blown away by that. I was like, wow. Like, you must have been on death's door if you're going all that crazy. But what I did was I prayed about it. I let that information come into my heart, and God said, Tommy, you don't have to wait for your first heart attack. Go ahead and just do it now. Because I was having pains. I was having pains in my chest. I was having shortness of breath. All those symptoms were there. And I said, you know what? I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait for my first heart attack. No way. I can I can make my decision now. And I don't miss it. That's the coolest part about all this. I don't miss it. Not even for a second. I know what pork chops taste like. I don't have to keep eating them. I know what bacon tastes like. I don't have to keep eating it. I can assess what your bacon looks like just by looking at it. I don't have to taste it. And if I do, and this is going to sound a little disgusting, but I'm going to say it anyway. But if I do have to, like, if the chef is just insisting, please, just, I wanted you to, what I've been able to is do the technique of just taking it and just running it all over my taste buds. I can get a feel for it, and then I just spit it out in the garbage.
Well, I mean, it's just like wine. You don't have to swallow the wine.
It's the same concept, and that's a nice transition. But I've just been able to train myself and to do that, so I can make an assessment not only of my own food, because I make stuff that's got chicken, beef in it. I can't necessarily taste it myself, but I have a sea of taste warriors. They're called front of the house. They're starving all the time, and I just taste this, and I tell them what to taste for: salt, pepper, texture, viscosity. Does it look like it's supposed to look like? And I've trained them to do that, so I just give it to them, and they are grateful.
I 100% believe in food is medicine, and it sounds like you believe that as well. I mean, there's a place for pharmaceuticals. I get that, but I believe if we can heal ourselves through what we've been given, then that's the way to start. So I am curious, like, what was the first thing that you noticed when you went vegan?
Oh, the first thing I noticed was energy level through the roof. Like, right, Robin, I'm here to tell you, I'm not the poster guy for veganism, but day 2, I felt more energetic. Day 2. And I had just stopped. Like, I had just stopped using regular butter on my toast. I transitioned into a plant butter, 100% plant-based butter. And it was, the change was unbelievable. I stopped using, regular mayonnaise. I have a vegan-based mayonnaise that I use. Dave's Killer Bread, the best bread in the world.
Love Dave's Killer Bread.
Dave's is the bomb diggity. It toasts better than any other bread I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
So, you spend a little more. It is a budget thing. You can spend a lot less if you're eating Wonder Bread. But Wonder Bread is going to make Tommy unproductive, unproductive and sad and heavy. I've lost a tremendous amount of weight. I haven't weighed myself. The vegan thing you drop pounds. Like, wow. I mean, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, whoa. Like, them love handles don't look like luggage no more. They look a little bit like a little, like, maybe a travel bag, like a duffel bag now. They're not a full suitcase.
A little fanny pack.
A little fanny pack, maybe, but you notice that kind of right away. And I noticed more, I did notice physical, but I noticed more mentally too. Mentally, and everybody told me, they said, you're going to clear up. And there's something about that animal fat that when it's running through your body, it kind of clogs your brain up too for some reason. And I got that. I got that right away. Didn't get right away. Probably week 1 or week 2, you start like clearing up. Why do you get the idea? Why are you doing this in the first place? So why are you putting the fork in this? And you had mentioned that food is love. For me, food used to be love. It's not love for me anymore. It's now fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been the transition also into being a chef. Because a lot of chefs will tell you this, their food intake is totally different. We deal with food all day. We're tasting food all day. We never stop. So when you come home, you're not really interested in food. It's right. Not all of a sudden it just doesn't become your personal passion. I will always have a passion for food and making you food. And I hope one day I get the opportunity to make you food. Like, I love that. I hope that our paths cross. Either you're in Charlotte or I'm near you, and I'm going to come with a grocery bag, and you're just going to leave me your kitchen, and I'm going to make food for you and your whole family.
I love
So
it.
someday we'll do that because once I'm in the kitchen, I come alive. I mean, literally, my heart comes alive. I got my station set up. I got my seasonings right. My ovens are preheated. My oil is correct. I'm ready to go, and I'm just waiting for the first ticket. And as soon as that first ticket comes, I put my music on. I listen to hard rock music when I work. I don't care. Do you come in? You don't want to listen to it? I don't care. I listen to heavy music when I still try to listen to the faith-based stuff. So Skillet is always on. Skillet is always in the first part of my queue. I love that band. I will listen to them forever. They just rock it and a powerful message. So, and then my executive chef comes down to my kitchen all the time. He says, Tommy, you're one of those guys that's got to move like really fast. I'm like, yeah, chef, I am. So get out of my way. Because
Well, I like that what you said about music too, because I do the
yeah,
same thing with working out. Like the music that I work out to, if I'm really going for a hardcore workout, it's not the music that I would listen to in the car or, have on at any other time. It's just there's something about it that it
it's
just
the
gets you
4/4.
going.
It's the 4/4, Robin. It's a time signature. It's music. It's 4/4, and rock bands do it all the time. And you and I grew up on 4/4 time, so that's basically just a lead singer, a guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer. And you just hit those same 3 or 4 chords, and you play them in the 4/4 time, and we're all happy. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's what music is. Familiarity. And there's all kinds of new music, and I listen to it and I don't listen to it, but I'm always going to be a rock and roll guy forever. I don't think that's ever going to change. Never, never.
What do you listen to when you work out? And tell me about your workouts. Because I know you said in that post,
Right.
there was a lot in that post really,
Yeah.
about walking and power walking, how it's better for your knees.
Yeah.
But I can see you. Do you have your headphones in and you're headed down the road? Do you do it
Yeah.
in the gym?
You got the vision. I got the headphones on. I got the hat on backwards. I got the t-shirt that shows the sweat on purpose. So I want people to see that I'm working very hard here. I don't wear the black t-shirt. I wear the one that shows the sweat, and I sweat like crazy. But so I power walk 2 miles exactly. I have the route planned out. And when you power walk, that's different than walking. I'm walking. My goal is to walk as fast as I can
Mm-hmm.
without running, without
Right.
jogging.
Right.
And so I've been able to get my time. So when you walk normal, when you just walk your pace as everybody walks, you can do 2 miles in about 40 minutes. Okay, so that's the norm. This, trust me, I googled this. So you do the 40, you just regular walking, not at pace, 40 minutes. I've been able to get my time under 25 minutes.
Wow.
I was actually just the last time I went out, I almost made it under 24 minutes. I mean, you are to walk 2 miles in 24 minutes, you are moving. Like
Yeah, you are.
get out of my way, lady. Like if you're walking on the path, you get out of my way because I'm gonna run you over. Because when you run, it's different. When you run, you have all that other running stuff going on. I have a friend of mine a long time ago was into power walking, and I never really got into it, but he kind of planted the seed with me that he does that for exercise. And it looks weird, and I don't care. I could care less, but I am moving and I am sweating. So what music do I listen to? Definitely the hard stuff, electric guitar, riffs, Metallica. It's hard. I don't listen to the gospel music. I listen to faith-based hard rock music like Skillet. What are some of the other bands that I listen to? I don't know. Can't think of them off the top of my head, but it's always Skillet. I always go back to it. It's my workout music. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, it sounds like with your diet, with your exercise, I mean, you have all of that under control. And, I'm always curious about how people find the balance. So I saw that you have red wine in your glass. So can you tell
I
us what
do.
you're drinking and what is your go-to?
Okay, so tonight, and we had spoke about this before. So I'm drinking a wine. It's Franciscan Estate is the name of the vineyard, and it's a straight cab. It's 2019. It's from Monterey County, so it's in the Valley. So it's got the Valley vibe going on. And anybody who's into wine will tell you, red wines, especially cabs from the Valley, they have their own kind of distinct thing going on. It just is my job that I have now as the chef. The membership is crazy into Napa Cab. So I've been researching drinking Napa cabs. Well, it's not my go-to. But let me finish with this one first. It's
Okay.
the Napa Cab is not my go-to. But this one was very good. It was rated. I did a little research. It was rated high. It was 88, 89 points, somewhere in that range. So it was dead in that mid-range. Not your big, bold, crazy cab that you're going to eat with T-bone steak. It's very medium bodied, very accessible, very easy to drink, definitely a sipper, perfect for the podcast. It's just the right wine. It's so if I had to pair it with food, it lands somewhere in that like braised pork area. Could be like a barbecue, like pulled pork barbecue. Oh yeah, it'll land
Okay.
there. Yeah, it'll land right there. It's got a lot of that very, very fruit forward, very just accessible. It's tannic is very medium on the tannins. Tannins are not making that weird thing you do with your face when you have tannic wines, not doing that. It's very easy. If I would recommend this wine if someone really wasn't into red wines as much.
Okay.
It feels like I don't want. I always say this, but it gives a negative connotation. But it's more like a training wheels cab. Like if you're just getting into the Napa cabs,
Yeah.
you can start with something like this. Maybe that
Hmm.
can start your journey into the valley. But once you get in between those two mountain ranges, it's difficult to get out
Yeah.
because
But you said
there's
it wasn't your go-to. So what's your go-to?
no, it's not. No, it's not. I'm Italian, so I am always going to gravitate to Italian wines, and I think Italian wines get a bad rap. I think they do. I think they get a bad rap sometimes, and it's because of the nature of the wine itself. More about not so much about the grape and where the grape is grown, that has something to do with it, but culturally, the Italian people have a different idea about what wine is as opposed to the French or the Americans or the Portuguese or anybody else who creates wine. Wine for the Italian people is like woven into the fabric of our existence as Italian people.
Hmm.
It's not just there on the table. It's not just we have these dynamic places like in France, like the Loire Valley, where they grow. I mean, French wine's unbelievable, blow your mind. I'm not saying that I don't like French wine. French wines are incredible. I hope to get to the Loire Valley someday if God is good to Tommy. I will be there in the valley and I will lay amongst the vines. I will sniff the dirt and I will be the happiest Tommy in the world. But getting back to the Italian wines, I don't know. It's just because it's been in my family. My grandfather was a winemaker. And so culturally it's there for me. So I'm always
Hmm.
find myself wandering over to the Italian wine section. For white wines, I got to tell you, Italian white wines are my favorite white wines.
Okay.
Love them. I love Italian white wines. They get a bad rap. People don't understand them, but I'll tell you, Pecorino. It is a
Ah,
varietal of grape. You know it.
yeah.
Hopefully your guests know it. It's not just a cheese, it's a grape. And I will tell you, they sell one at a place I'm not going to mention, but and you can get it for dirt. I mean, you get it for $13.99, and it will be a really cool wine for you to have on your rack if you want to, and the company tuned me into it. I had my first Pecorino with the company you and I worked for,
Hmm.
the Pulpo
Yeah.
the Pulpo Blue, and that's how I got introduced to it. And I was like, I couldn't buy the wine fast enough. I was like, Anita had to stop me. She was like, no, don't buy 3 cases of that. I know, but I want to buy 3 cases of that. I have my credit card in my hand. I have to drink this wine. It's incredible. It just blew me away. That was that wine. But now I found this other one and others. And I always tell people, don't kick these Italian white wines out of, don't leave them in your space. I'm
Oh,
going to
absolutely. Absolutely. I think
leave them
all
in,
Italian wines are delicious. Yes.
yeah, but still, I mean, it's such a hard question to answer, Robin. That what's your go-to? Because my go-to is wine. Really,
Yeah.
like truly, I can really, I really do love the umbrella of this process
Hmm.
of a seed to bottle.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
you know how much work that takes? Do you know how much love that takes? I mean, the love that every person that has to be involved with that will depend on your final product. And
Mhm.
that's what gets me fired up about wine, because it's really the people, the growers that take the time to have an estate vineyard, where that means that the grape is grown on site, and the winemaking is done on site, and the bottling is done on site, and everything is done there.
Yeah.
And it just, when I see stuff like that, and I can taste the love, because there's so much love going on here right now. Oh my gosh. Like I'm not a spirits guy. I dabble in it only because I have to for work. But this product is going to be always so much better, just so much better. You know,
Yeah,
it's better for you. I mean,
that's
way better
true.
for you, way better. You know, you got to watch your calories,
Right, right.
obviously. But then we go back to that, like, what's the balance? So, I don't drink as much wine as I used to, like when we were in the business, not even close.
Hmm.
Like, there's plenty of times where Anita would say, "You're not opening that third bottle, are you?" I said, "Oh, yes, I am going to actually." She said that you're probably going to regret that, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, you're right. Well, I'm gonna open it anyway." And I always regretted it. Oh, did I always regretted it? I I always regret it. I always. She was right. I mean,
Yeah,
you drink 2 bottles of red wine by yourself, and this is what I'm talking about. You don't need to open that third bottle.
no,
It's not necessary. You're on a mission now. You're just drinking to medicate at that point, because you're not
right,
thinking about flavor anymore. You're just doing that to get wasted. And
right.
that's a balance right there. You know, we talk about, mental health and physical health, and so many people, think that this alcohol thing will solve their problems. It won't. And I'm here to tell you it won't.
Hmm.
If you have noise in your head, although it may shut it off, it's never going to make it go away.
Right.
Never.
Yes.
And I've
Hmm.
danced, I tell you, it made me look at wine a little differently, and how I need to attack it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I want to be a professional. I consider myself a wine professional. I do recommendations at work. They, sometimes think I'm a little off the wall, but that's fine. I don't care. It's fine with me. I know what I like, and I know what my members like. So, but they get, it doesn't matter. It's fine. But
Yeah.
I was able to just ease back a little. Just have a glass of wine. I don't have to finish this bottle tonight. That's not
Yeah.
necessary. I put the stopper in it. It's good for 3-4 days. I have a glass when I want to. I'm not on a mission anymore. Well, actually, I am on a mission, but it's not to drink all the wine in the world.
Well,
That's
I think when you lose that appreciation, I mean, when you go into it just truly appreciating what is in your glass,
yes.
and instead of just drinking what's in your glass, like
And
taking
taking
the
the
time to
time.
think of it's mindfulness, just like eating is mindfulness.
Yeah,
Everything that you do in yeah.
just start with the mindfulness first, and it's not. And too many people that I've talked to have, they've gone down a bad road with this stuff.
Hmm.
Wine. I'm not talking, especially especially women. A lot of times there's that bottle of Chardonnay is calling you, and you can't do your afternoon without it. And it's a slippery slope. It always is. It always, I'll tell you what, it always bothered me a little when I was in the business.
Hmm.
Oh, it bothered me. It bothered me a lot when I saw my clients buying cases of wine. I knew what those cases were going to be. They were going to be consumed. Like, we talk about this, that wine is a wonderful product to sell the way that we do, because it's consumable. It's gone in 30 minutes. Like, oh my gosh, like, that's what jewelry lasts forever, leggings last forever. The bottle of wine lasts 30 minutes. Like,
Yes.
what do you need to do? Reorder.
Yes. That was one reason why I got
Oh, it
into the
drew me
business, because, it just,
too.
yep.
Oh, it drew me to it. It drew me to it right away. I was like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. But
Hmm.
like I said, the challenges that I met, that's probably another podcast too. But it ended up just ended up being not for Tommy, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
And we'll definitely have to do another call, because I feel like there are things that we can follow up on. But you're the perfect person to ask about um, food pairings and wine.
Yeah.
Like, what would be just something that you would say, you have to try this?
Oh my gosh. So you have to try it. See, that's interesting.
And it could be simple. I mean, it could be.
So really, to be honest with you, I I think that we have an opportunity with food and wine here. And the opportunity is to pair wines with vegan food. Now that's interesting, right? That's interesting because how do we do wines, right? We follow the protein, right? Start with the protein. If you're going for food pairings, obviously start with the protein because that has strict lines. You know, they're a little blurred, but not as much as with seasoning, right? So if we're going to talk about chicken, let's say we're serving chicken, okay, we're going to think white wine immediately, but then we're also going to think about technique. Is it braised? Are we adding a thicker sauce? You might be able to transition into a lighter bodied red wine, depending on the seasoning, blah, blah, blah. So when we talk about food and wine pairings, it's a broad, it's a concept. It's not an absolute. There's no absolutes there's so much room for subjectivity and so much room for creativity based on what chef is trying to do, what wine we're supposed to bring to make the expression be correct. And it's a conversation. It's a conversation between you and EC or your chef. It's a conversation from the person who's going to make the decision on what wines we bring with the chef, right? So having all of those conversations and putting all those things in place. If I had to really zero in on it, I believe that one of my favorite varietals will always be Zinfandel. I've
Okay.
had a love affair with Zinfandel my whole life. And you want to talk about just a match and a thing of kerosene was the Zinfandel that we sold. And it
Yes.
it kind of got me going with that. And it's not popular. A lot of people out there in the wine snobby world don't really think Zinfandel has got much to offer. And because it's very jammy, people don't like that. People who like wines from the valley and they're snobby, they don't like that jammy texture. They think it's a sign of a poor wine, and they couldn't be further from the truth. Because you and I love Zinfandel, and most people do enjoy Zinfandel, and there's a reason for that because it's ancient, it's old, it's been around for hundreds of years. You got vines out there that just, they look like those vines you see on like the Disney Channel. I mean, like they're evil looking vines, but the grape that they provide makes this wonderful. I call it like stick to your ribs wine. I mean, it sticks to your ribs. It's normally has a bit more alcohol because, as you know, Zinfandel is a nice thick skinned grape. You could whack it over all kinds of alcohol, and it's going to be okay. You're not going to taste it. It's not going to taste like rubbing alcohol. So it holds up to a lot of booze. So can be popular amongst the I call it red cheek wine, and I've always called it that. Zinfandel is red cheek wine. You have one glass, cheeks are red.
That's me. That's me.
And you want to find something on Netflix that's funny, and you want to laugh, and you want to eat. The crackers are coming out. It doesn't matter. But if the Zinfandel is on the table, obviously you want to reach for something like more on the dessert side of things. You know what I'm saying? Like chocolate covered something. Bring the Zinfandel along, but it still has savory applications. I tell you, I just recently grabbed this thing in a farm market, and it goes against like everything you conventional things. It's a hot red pepper jelly. Okay, so it's hot. I'm going to put the capsaicin level at, I mean, if I had to go 0 to 10, 0 being bell pepper, 10 being, oh my gosh, my lips are on fire. It builds like right in that like 7 or 8 range. So it's got definitely spice, it tastes, but it's also incredibly sweet. So I'm going to reverse engineer this product at work. I'm going to make it for a special that we have hopefully coming up soon. But it is incredible. And I was in Zinfandel the other day, and I said, let me see what happens. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's spicy. Zinfandel's going to reject this. And I'll tell you, it crawled right up on that like a comfy blanket. It had something about it. All I did was put it on a cracker, but I put hummus down below, and then I put the pepper jelly on top of it.
Ooh.
And then I ran that past the Zinfandel, and I went, forget that conventional crap. That tastes damn good. And made the wine taste better. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. Like that. And that's all wine and food pairing is.
Mhm.
It's an experiment. You're
Mhm.
experimenting. You're probably going to get it wrong because you could be the best sommelier in the world. You have no idea what's going on in an executive chef's head. None. He tells you he put this much spice in, but did he really? Did he get called aside somewhere and he put a little more because somebody had a problem in the other kitchen? So if
Yeah.
you really be scientific about it, it may miss. But at the end of the day, wine tastes so freaking good. It doesn't even matter if you miss. I mean, if I would love to aspire to work in a fine dining restaurant. That would be wonderful. And if it doesn't happen, I really don't care. But I love people who know about wine because they're inherently smart. Seriously, they're the people who know about wine and food and just wine in general. You know what wine to bring. And that's a knowledge that everybody basically has if you drank more than 3 glasses your whole life. But it's cool. Like if you know about wine, like
Yes.
your friends that know about wine, aren't they all cool?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Pretty much. We're a cool breed. Uh, hard to be a man, though. I'll tell you that right now. It's hard to be a man in the industry. That may shock a few people, but this is a ladies' game, and I'm here to tell you, it is. This business is run by the ladies, and I love it. I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing. I think it makes me happy when I see all the wine guides having all this success. My heart is overjoyed. I
Mm.
see the success. I still follow all you people,
I love
and
it.
I love it that that it's successful. I love it. I
Yeah.
just I do. It's got nothing to do with boy girl. It doesn't matter.
No,
I just threw that ladies thing out there, but it really does have anything. You guys have built a passion over there at that company, and
it's great.
it shows. It shows.
Yeah. It's fun. And we give people fun and we get to educate people along the way. So I really like that too. Yeah.
I did that one F was so easy to get because it was fun right away. You know, we talk about the
Right.
5 Fs, but that F was so easy because I met fun people. I
Yeah.
met people who were as psychotically passionate about wine as I was. I was like, man, you guys are cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Tommy, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I do feel like we need to do a follow-up
Yeah.
because I know that you have things that you are going to be working towards. And I just want to say how proud of you that it's just crazy how much we have in common, how you've stepped into this new role, but that you want to take it even more and that you're in a place where you're not afraid to take that step. And that's what it takes. And you had said something earlier about having fear. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily fear. Our goals should scare us. I mean, that's what is the difference between courage and fear is taking that step, right?
You're right.
So I see that in you, and I'm excited for you because I know that you have wonderful things in store, and I can't wait to connect with you again.
The feeling is mutual, Robin, because I think you are just a firecracker and you are going to make an impact in this world beyond your wild. You don't even know it. You don't even know it yet. Like I see this passion and this drive in you, and this podcast idea of yours seemingly came out of the ether, and you ran with it. And you ran with it and you promoted it. And look at you. You got like what, 544 last time I looked.
Yeah, I'm
I've,
making my way.
I saw this goal in my head, Robin, as soon as we connected, because and then you with your followers and stuff. And I'm not going to rest. I'm going to keep sending invites out until you get 1,000 people on that, till you get 1,000 people following. I know a lot of people who know a lot of people, and they're going to get your invite. I want to see you get to that 1,000 people. I do. And
That's nice of you.
other no reason. I was so excited today that somebody from my invitee, I mean, I messaged you right away. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, somebody did!" So
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I want you to be successful more than anything, Robin. And I think it's a great idea. I've mentioned it to a few people at work. Those are the people who accepted the invite. And my friend CJ was excited, and he says, "Wow, that's a great idea," because he struggles with, his health side. And he's a young man. He still needs to drink 2-3 bottles of wine at a time, but he's interested in learning about health and wellness. And I told him, I said, well, follow it and tune in. You
I
know,
love it.
I didn't tell
Thank
him
you.
I didn't tell him you're gonna hear like the coolest interview you ever heard because it's with Tommy.
I love that. I hope
So
that's the first one he listens to.
I hope it is. When he sees Tommy, he better listen to it. I'm gonna break his shoes if he doesn't.
Well, again, thank you so much. And
you,
I can't wait to connect with you again. So
Yeah, we'll
thank you.
do that. We'll stay close. Thank you so much for the opportunity. This has been wonderful.
Yes.
Wow, Tommy, thank you for taking the time and sharing on so many topics. That was fun. Here are a few takeaways. 1, making a career change midlife is very possible. Scary, yes, but taking risks and working hard to make it happen can be life-changing. 2, surround yourself with people that push you and inspire you. Successful people don't become successful by staying still, so make it happen and use all those around you to help support you. 3, walking away from distractions may be necessary to become centered and to find your balance. 4, a vegan lifestyle may just be the answer to being healthier. More energy, less brain fog, weight loss. Do your research and experiment to determine if it's a lifestyle that fits you. 5, give power walking a try to switch up your workouts. I recommend shorter strides to care for hips and knees. 6, do yourself a favor and try Italian wines. You might just discover that the Italians have been doing it right for a very long time. All the reds are amazing, but give Pecorino a try as a new white. 7, the process from seed to bottle takes love at every step. Wine is truly fascinating. 8, alcohol will not solve your problems. It will not quiet the noise in your head. Find the balance in appreciating wine instead of just drinking it, and reach out for help if you need it. 9, mindfulness is key in eating and while drinking. Again, thank you to Tommy. I've included a few fun items in the show notes that relate to our conversation, so check them out. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you take a few seconds to do each or all of the following. First, follow or subscribe to Spandex and Wine. It'll help you so you don't miss an episode, and it'll help me because you won't miss any episodes. To do this, you'll just go to the podcast, click subscribe or follow wherever you are listening. Look for the plus sign or follow button, and this is one of the best things that you can do for the podcast, so thank you. If you'd also be willing to give a 5-star review, that would be amazing. And lastly, please share an episode with a friend or 5 to keep the love going. I appreciate you. Thanks.